your vote's wasted. Well, we need change, we should vote Reform, or we should vote Liberal Democrats. Your vote's wasted. You can feel good about the fact that you voted for this party. They're not going to get in. It's more about voting a certain party not getting in. I hope this message gets out before the 4th of July election. You are wasting your vote.
What would happen if Reform were to get in, for example? What if it's not Labour or Conservative this time?
But they're not going to get in.
How do you know?
Because the whole thing is cheap voting for whoever. They're not going to get in. In 100 odd years, no other parties got in. They're not going to get in. Last minute changes. I mean, Nigel Farage has just decided he's going to stand. Somebody chucked a milkshake in his face. Do you really think they're going to get in when somebody chucked a milkshake in his face? Nobody chucked a milkshake in Keir Starmer's face or a milkshake in Rishi Sunak's face. People go on social media and say they hate Rishi Sunak or they hate Keir Starmer. But yeah, it doesn't matter if you're fully in on Reform UK. Somebody chucked a milkshake in his face. That enough is to say they're not getting in. It's not going to happen. In 100 and whatever number of years, nobody, only Labour or Conservatives, have got in. And you could say, oh, well, the Liberal Democrats and whatever, they were in a joint government once and whatever. Yeah, but they didn't get in on their own. They didn't win a majority. Nobody is going to get in other than Labour or Conservative. Do you want to know where my vote's going yet?
I mean, I actually do, because, I mean, this might sound stereotypical of me, but historically, landlords would often tend to vote for Conservative. Now, with the current state of the country and a lot of forums online, there's a lot of evidence suggesting that people will not be voting for Conservatives, specifically landlords.
There's a lot of landlords saying they're going to vote for Labour. And I think they think that because Conservatives have been really tough on landlords in the last few years with lots of policy changes. But Labour have got a policy that says, the Renters Reform Bill says that even if you have a tenant that doesn't pay the rent, you can't evict them. Well, that's going to destroy the country. It'll get rid of all landlords. There's no plan to build more houses. There's no government plan. And the tenant will go, oh, that's great. We'll vote Labour because we'll get them in and then we don't need to pay the rent. You won't have a house to not pay the rent in. There'll be a bigger problem. It's going to create an even bigger problem all along. And neither party has the solution. I'm going to vote Conservative. It's more not because I think Conservatives are going to do a great job. A lot of people will be voting Labour, and I understand why they will, because, let's be honest, Conservatives have been shit. But the reality is Labour don't have a plan. There's problems with inflation in every country. Italy, Germany, France, Spain, Australia,
it's a
America.
Worldwide problem.
It's a worldwide problem. It's not a Conservative problem. It's not a Rishi Sunak problem. It's a worldwide problem. There's been a pandemic. There's been a war in Europe, or is. There's been Brexit. And you could say, well, that was Conservative. Well, it was kind of also Nigel Farage. Really, if you look at it deep down, many people are annoyed by the cost of living crisis and they're annoyed by everything that's happened out there. But the challenge is, none of that is really a UK-only problem. They're going to say, oh, but they should never have done a lockdown. Yeah, but every country in the world did a lockdown. It wasn't the Conservatives that did a lockdown. Every country in the world did a lockdown, pretty much, apart from Sweden, maybe. And many people who didn't have a lockdown in Sweden say that they wish they did. So had Labour been in power during the pandemic, Labour would have done a lockdown.
Yeah,
because every country did a lockdown. And Labour would have printed the same money that the Conservatives printed, because America printed the money, Spain printed the money, Italy printed the money, the whole Eurozone printed the money, every country around the world printed the money. So actually, are we voting because we believe that the Conservatives created this financial problem and this austerity problem and this cost of living crisis and so on, but really they didn't create that problem? That problem was created worldwide. That's just my opinion. Argue with me, etc. in the comments if you like. But what it comes down to is then what is their plan to get out of what's happened across the world?